Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Dragon's Lair. I'm Ethan Sweeney, and thanks for joining us. Our first segment today discusses how the Warren County Career Center is coming up to speed in the era of the coronavirus. The Lair's own Jacob McKissick produced this first story.
The Career Center has experienced many changes due to the combined effects of construction and the coronavirus pandemic. Some classes have been moved while construction is in progress, whether it be to trailers on the grounds of the high school, to Beatty, or to central office. Normal routines for many classes have been interrupted, whether it be the presence of loud noise, to walking through a construction zone, or even being in a different location entirely due to construction taking place within your classroom. To learn how the Career Center has changed, we've asked students and faculty how their day-to-day has changed due to the combination of construction and the coronavirus pandemic.
Yeah, we got put in trailers, so it's given us a lot less space to actually work with. We're all sort of crowded into a small room, but we don't have as much freedoms, I guess you would say, to work.
And how do these changes compare with the adjustments made for the recent COVID pandemic?
We've definitely lost kids coming to class with cyber. It's a lot harder for us to work hands-on, side-by-side with masks on.
Well, it's a big difference going from trailers to classrooms and having labs to actually do everything instead of just reading out of books.
In comparison to that, how has COVID affected what you've been doing here?
It's not really changed a whole lot other than us not sitting so close together.
As we interviewed students, we picked up on a theme that the COVID pandemic had a little effect on the students in the Career Center aside from wearing masks. Some classes even restricted mask usage, such as in electronics, where students cannot use masks when soldering.
It's kind of hard to work with these masks on. Like when I'm soldering over there, the fumes are getting up there, and I have to take my mask off because I cannot solder with my mask on because those fumes are not good. That's about it with the mask.
After talking with students at the Career Center about their experiences regarding the recent changes, we decided to reach out to the administration for their input, specifically the principal of the Career Center, Mr. Evers.
Well, it's been a long process. We started off all through last year where we had to relocate a whole bunch of the programs to different places. So last year was quite different. There were only 5 programs that remained here in this building, and the rest of the programs were moved somewhere else, including our culinary program, which was moved to central office. But we're anticipating that most of them should be back in this building fairly early in this school year. Overall, the COVID-19 really hasn't been a major negative impact on the Career Center itself. One of the main reasons is because so much of what we do is hands-on. The option of going virtual or doing a blended type program really wasn't much of an option for us. So overall, our numbers really have not changed a whole lot. What we've had to do, obviously, is learn to space ourselves out, wear the protective equipment throughout the day, those types of things.
Overall, while the Career Center has experienced and will continue to experience changes, its students and staff have shown that they can be flexible and cooperative despite the construction and the coronavirus pandemic as they advance their education in a safe and functional environment.
But the Career Center is quite different than the typical homeschool. The students that come here want to be here. This is something that they're interested in. The teachers that teach here, it's within their field, it's what they love. So there's a kind of a connection between the students and the teacher that you might not have in, say, a typical math class or a social studies class.
Mm-hmm.
Reporting from the Dragon's Lair, this is Jake McKissick,
Ethan Sweeney,
And Carter Swartz.
It looks like the Career Center is off to a good start.
Yeah, I agree, Sweeney. Looks like the students at the Career Center have a good attitude, and even the challenges of construction and COVID haven't slowed them down.
Our next segment comes from Tyler Johnson. He investigated the new practices of the music department as the year gets started.
Coronavirus has not just affected classes with staying 6 feet apart in classes and lunch, it has also affected the ways of after-school and during-school activities. We asked some students how they feel about the situation.
So I think one of the big things that COVID has affected is collaboration. People have been forced to collaborate in a different form than what they usually did. Normally, like before COVID, people would like gather at someone's house or go to a studio and just kind of work on songs in a sort of more in-person way. But because of COVID, since they can't interact like that, they have to do it virtually. They have to work on those songs isolated from each other. And a lot of the times that strangles the creative flow of creating a song. Sure, it's still possible to create a song, but it does make it harder. However, it does make it easier, and it allows more time for people who run one-man bands, who are individual artists, to work on their craft. Since they have more time inside and they're forced to stay inside, they can work in their studio, which they likely have at home, to create music and really refine their style.
As you can see, COVID is not just making it hard to figure out who you're sitting with at lunch, but it's also affecting the music department. Up next, we have interviews of teachers describing how different this year is for everyone.
COVID has affected music tremendously, not just in our schools, but all over. There are no live performances, and a lot of times a performer will feed off a live audience to get the reaction that they need, to see how they did. In school, everything's virtual. We're not allowed to play in school. We're not allowed to sing in school, which makes our jobs a little bit more difficult, trying to figure out how we're going to make this work. Kids are dropping out. And they just don't want to do this virtually. I think in the future, this is going to affect us because our numbers are still going to be low. We still can't start beginners the way we usually do. Kids get frustrated because we can't help them.
Especially toward the beginning of the year, we're not allowed to sing just yet. Band isn't allowed to play inside just yet. Right now we're working on getting masks that are easier to sing in and finding ways to mask instruments. And hopefully we'll be able to sing together in choir again sometime soon.
Corona has been a very difficult thing for many people. Music was struck hard during the pandemic. Music activities are going to be suffering throughout the years in the near future because of it. Numbers in music department have decreased and will stay that way during the aftermath. There isn't all bad though. The marching band has found more places to play even though they can't do much traveling. Thank you all for watching.
That's all the time we have on this week's Dragon's Lair.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more upcoming original content. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.